Good afternoon. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Devils United. Back with the final preview of the season. And we have got Manchester United versus Liverpool. Going to be an absolute cracking show, as always. Got Andy and Chloe with me. Andy, how you doing?
Not too bad. I thought I would rock the OG shirt for Man United women tonight. Might bring us back to ground after what's been going on with Twitter today. But yeah, great to be on. Really glad to have the pod and can anyone really look forward to going to Liverpool? You know, physically being in Liverpool. Well, anyway,
I've got to be in Liverpool in a few months, and that's already dreaded.
I don't know. Are you going on Saturday? Are you going on Saturday?
No.
Me and Chloe are going to be. We have to have our injections. We're going to be on the Wirral on Saturday morning.
I'll be doing a watch along, so that I'll need injections just for that alone. Who have you got on your back?
I never did. This was right at the beginning where I was first sort of falling down the rabbit hole, and I didn't even have anyone on my back. So I've got the original championship badge, which is actually really hard to get hold of originally. But nothing on the back.
Chloe, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Good to be back on. Looking forward, obviously, to doing this preview, and it's going to be a good final game on Saturday against Liverpool, which obviously are more of our rivals than Manchester City are.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the men's game they are, and hopefully, our champ will live up. Of who's put the ball in the Scousers' net? Half of Man United. Let the other half of Man United score against Liverpool. Let's just say.
Talk about a chance. Obviously, I'm not going to hijack it because it is a Liverpool pod, but there was something that happened. Chloe was there as well. I don't know if you were there actually. I don't want to implicate you in this, but we were there after the match for City. And you talk about chance, and there's quite a few of us who quite loudly, and I didn't even see her, but essentially ended up doing it pretty much right in front of Steph Horton's face. The following chant. What is that? I've forgotten now. I know the end of it. You know what the City one. This is how it feels to be City. This is how it feels to be small. This is how it feels when your passport's back in the drawer, back in the drawer. Back in the drawer, and we said it to her face, literally about that far away from her. She had a minder with her, and the minder said to Isabel, "Don't touch her." As she walked past, and she had a face like thunder.
She walked. I went to the pub afterwards, and I seen her walk past the pub, and she looked absolutely deviled. Like she was just walking on the street like it was just nothing. But I tell you what was
funny because she just gone through was singing about passports back in the drawer. She's not in a good mood.
Probably. I'll tell you what was funny though, because basically we had to park at Pennington Flash because normally we park actually in the actual thing, but like we went like 2 hours early and there was no car park spaces. So we went, and when we was walking up, we seen Jill Scott, and Jill Scott shouted, "Come on, City!" when she seen me. And then my dad went, "I'm sure that's Jill Scott. Let me go over to, let's go walk up and see if it's her." So we seen her, and my dad and Jill Scott went and full and had bantering at each other. And Jill Scott said she will give my dad personally 50 quid if we won 3-1. Yeah, she went, "I will give you a 50 quid. She went, "I will find you after the game and I will give you £50.
Wow.
We were there when Jill Scott and Karen Barnsley sort of just appeared, and I think Jill Scott got a bit of attention, but nobody gave a damn that Karen Barnsley was there. Even the City fans just kind of walked past her. It was right when they arrived, to be honest.
Quality. We'll say hello to people who's in the chat. Good evening, Rather. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Believe it or not, Katie Zellum, based on age, is apparently already in a prime. Good evening, Reese. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat. I can see there's already questions. I'll go through them later on. Good evening, Luca. I'm well, thank you. Hope you are well too. You know what? Luca really surprised me because I've been doing guest of former played, based off the careers. And I've done it on YouTube as well as Twitter. And Luca was the first one who got it right on YouTube about Brunner. And I was actually really surprised. So I just wanted to give Luca a shout out for that because that was it really surprised me that he got it right. Good evening, Niall. Thanks for coming in. Hope you are well. Good evening, Chris. Hope you are well. Thank you for coming in. Chris, Liverpool men have let me down, so I rely on Liverpool. Well, if I was you, I wouldn't rely on Liverpool women. You've just literally scraped relegation. Hey there, Indian Scouser. Thanks for coming in. Hope that you are well. So we will talk a little bit about well, I'm saying yesterday like we're doing a Monday pod. Sunday's game, because overall it was a cracking game, wasn't it, Andy?
It was a brilliant game. Obviously, it's funny because you say we get used to doing it on a Monday, and at least I have a memory of roughly the game. Then I've done a few things since I have a pretty rough week, but I think it was one of those where it's one of those games that we've had quite a few of this season, which falls into the category that we may have lost sight if it was last season. And I know there's already been discussions about the changing of the guard. I think there's an article today about how the power sort of shifted from one side of Manchester to another. I think the sort of key points from the game is obviously Hayley Ladd scoring so early and obviously so beautifully, but also so early. Because we really have been second half FC a lot of the time this season. And to start, making those inroads from the first half against the top teams is something that we previously had lost out on. And obviously, we can't, avoid discussing, Miss Roebuck's little mistake that she made. No, I mean I was really pleased to see the fact we had Rebecca Welsh. If you actually look into it, and not many people are as sad as I am, she's now too good, literally grade-wise, to be in the women's game. So we only got her, basically, because there was no other men's games on apart from a few playoffs, and I think a lot of the Prem refs were doing them or the top of the Championship. And I'm pretty sure that a few of the refs would have bottled that, and she went straight for the red. And it was a clear red card. It was a reckless challenge. It took out Nikita Paris. But also, I think, and we might go on to this depending on how the discussion goes, I imagine, but I have severe concerns about having her on the plane, even as a backup, because she's done two really strange things in the last 2 weeks. So something's going on there. So unless you can get her head right, get some help maybe, get some support, I would take Hannah Hampton and anybody else really, bar Roebuck.
Emily Ramsey, is Emily Ramsey still injured?
No, she's fine.
But I did see
earlier
today though that Sandy McKeever's back in trading for City, so she might, and she's been third choice in the past for England, so she might have options there. And in front of Serena as well. Of course. So that was definitely a highlight. And to be honest, I'll let Chloe come in now, but to be honest, that's what shredded my voice, because I kind of went a bit mad, politely saying I think it was off, and going a little bit mad with a few other things as well.
Mm-hmm. Take it away, Chloe.
Where to start with Derby Day? What a classic, what a fantastic game to obviously end at OSV for our final home game of the season. You couldn't to obviously end with a derby is special in itself, because that's very rare that we end a season at home with a win against City. And obviously it was a draw at their ground and we won at our ground. So it just shows that we've managed to get 4 points out of a possible 6 points against them, which again, it's incredible to even think of. And over obviously the past 5 years, it shows where we have come from. I know we'll probably end up touching on the 5 years we're coming up on Monday. I think it is on the 29th, or is it on the Sunday, the 28th? I think it is, of when United were announced as they're making a team. But yeah, the City game, it was incredible. At 2 minutes in, Hayley Ladd had that fantastic shot that it just kind of glided in. It weren't even I think we were discussing off pod, or just before we were coming on pod, how it kind of was just very slow going in. And it for me, like for when because we were behind the goal, it kind of looked like it weren't going in at first, and then you saw you saw it go in, and it was just a cracking goal, cracking finish. It like obviously I've watched the like replay and the celebration of Hayley, and she's stunned that she's managed to score it and that it went in. So even she was surprised that she managed to score it. And then obviously Emily Ramsey did obviously a mistake and it got her sent off. And now obviously she's banned for 3. Roebuck. She's banned for 3 games. So obviously she'll miss the game against Reading, and then the next two games, whether that's in the league, which probably going to be in the league, because I think County Cup starts after that, and obviously same with FA Cup. So it'll be the first 2 games in the league. So they're now going to have to rely on Cara Keating for their backup keeper, and then obviously they'll have Sandy McKeever back, and obviously the rumours that I've heard anyway that they've got this incredible Dutch young goalkeeper on the way, but I've also heard that she's going elsewhere. So they might officially have a top keeper and stuff, but obviously we'll have to see what happens next season. But it's not ended right for Roebuck in terms of where she wanted to finish this season, and obviously with the World Cup coming up, with Serena being at the ground like Andy said, it wasn't a good look for her, and maybe it's like changed Serena's mind in terms of who goes on the plane. But obviously our number 1 keeper, England number 1 keeper, Mary Earps, made some cracking saves, kept us in the game, kept us down like 1-0 until half time, and then obviously then it went to 1-1, thanks to again a very good shot by who was it again? Was it Angle?
Angie Dow.
Obviously from Angie Dow, and what it didn't annoy us, but obviously it's Derby Day.
I think we could have done better with this. I think Marriott's could have done a lot better. I said for a joke, Marriott's made that howler because De Gea was there.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, like, I don't know if you saw it, Maisy, because obviously where we were behind the stand, and obviously I think you were West Ham, weren't you?
Yeah.
Chloe Kelly went like this and kissed the badge in front of us, and it was like, really, Chloe?
Oh, that was it. No. Greenwood did it before the game. That's why we went really heavy on her when she was warming up in front of us as well.
Yeah, I know. But Chloe Kelly did it straight after the goal, and Popper smiled and screamed and kissed the badge after the goal, because I think she was the one that crossed it in to Angledar.
Yeah, I think she was the one who assisted it, wasn't she?
Yeah, I think it was it Chloe Kelly's corner, I think it came from. So it was that, and then we might, like, in the comments it said like Letitia was incredible. The amount of time she stopped Bunny from scoring. I've seen on Twitter there's been some that should have been one of them should have been a penalty and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we don't have VAR. If the ref doesn't see it, if the ref's not confident in giving it, the ref's not going to give it. And that's the moral of the story in the WSL. We don't have VAR, and some mistakes do get overturned or some don't. And if you watch Ref Watch, they might have said, yeah, it was a penalty, it wasn't a penalty, it was a red card, it wasn't a red card, and so forth. And it shows where the game needs to go in terms of them kind of stuff. But how long that takes for FA to decide if they want to do it, then it's up to them at the end of the day. And then obviously we had 2 of our super subs, Bo Risa and Lucia Garcia, come on. And obviously it was 1-1 until the 90th minute. and then Lucia, obviously a ball from Hannah to Bolrisa and Bolrisa straight into Lucia to obviously get the winning goal, which again, what a fantastic goal that was. And then it was obviously then she took her shirt off to send a message to her former teammate, her former captain at Atletico Club, Marta Unzer, who has announced last week that she tore her ACL in one of the games. So obviously she was a big part of the Spain team, obviously without the 15. So she dedicated that goal for her, which obviously I thought was incredible for her to do that. So it just shows how much Lucia wanted to score that, because she wanted to dedicate that goal. And obviously Marta saw it over on Twitter and on online, so which was good to see. And then obviously when we won it, when the final whistle went, I think we all just kind of went 3 points. Let's go on Saturday. Let's go and win. We've secured Champions League. We've secured second place. Now we just hope that Reading will win against Chelsea, or at least draw against Chelsea, and then we've got to go and score at least 6 goals against Liverpool, which we did do at the home game against them. So yeah, it's now just down to Saturday, which obviously we're going to go and touch on very soon. And yeah, what an atmosphere it was at the final whistle! It's just incredible. The players went round and obviously gave their shirts out. I think it was from the FA Cup final, I think it was. So they went and gave the shirts out to kids. So yeah, it was incredible. What an atmosphere. Hopefully, if you have got a season ticket for LSV for next season, do come along, because the atmosphere is incredible, especially when we win.
Absolutely. I'll get my views in just a moment. Just going to say hi to people who's new in the chat. Hey there to our Lumber. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, Paul. Hope you're well. I'm thinking of you as well, Paul. Hey there, Matata. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're well. Hey there, Andrew. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. And hey there to Daz. I'm well. Thank you. Hope you are well too. Yeah, I completely agree with both what you were saying regarding the game. I think Hayley Ladd, that goal was really good, and based where I was sat, because you was obviously sat where the goal was, it was like just see it floating like it was just so really good.
Yeah.
And when I seen Roebuck's challenge, I didn't obviously I couldn't see it properly because I was so far away, so I didn't understand how bad it really was. But then especially in the women's game, when you get a red card, it's basically leg breaking. So you had to. So I watched it at halftime, and it was a straight red. There was no question about that, and you could tell because Roebuck didn't argue with it. She just walked off. I think
Taylor did though. That was a weird thing.
Oh yeah, I seen it on his interview that he was not happy about the red card. I thought, mate, give over. To be honest, I don't think he is going to be lasting too much longer as City manager. If you want me to be honest, I think he will probably gone in the summer.
Well, he's been offered a 1 year contract. He's got an extension.
Well, I don't know why he's been given it. I must be honest, because it's the first time in 9 years they haven't got into the Champions League.
I know it's their lowest. As obviously I seen on Twitter today, it's their lowest ranked. It's their lowest ranked position for a long time.
And they've had much more investment than what we have had. We're finishing second place. And I completely agree with what Ravi is saying about Bunny Shaw. I think she was falling over way too much. She was diving massively.
Yeah.
And you look at Bunny Shaw, her build, how she is. She is much bigger than May Letizia. She's much bigger than Honor. And she was bullied by them, especially in that second half. She was absolutely bullied by the pair of them.
Yeah, 100%. And I think as well,
sorry about that, me internet. Again, it's just ridiculous.
And obviously, I think I agree with that. And obviously, I think the only time that I think she was down and injured was when she actually hurt herself. I think that was when it was Maya's challenge, or maybe Hayley's challenge. She got injured, and I thought she was going to be off. I spoke to someone else at the game, and she said it looks quite a sore injury. So that's probably the only time that I thought that she didn't hurt herself in that aspect. It looks like we might have lost Maisy for a second.
Oh yeah, other than that, she's really thinking about the point that you made. Yeah, no, it's I think she'll reset in a second, as you say. Yeah, I think Bunny Shaw, she's the one that sticks out past our biases, where we would say, okay, we would take her. She's very well built. You know, we lose a little bit of physicality. Our most physical player is probably Hayley Ladd.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry, Maze. We carried on.
Yes, great. Where was you both up to?
I was just saying about, it's interesting with Bunny Shaw because we see through the biases, we probably would all take her at United because she's so physical as well as goal scoring. And that is possibly one of the things that we missed a little bit. I mean, we have Hayley Ladd. Marriott, goalkeeper-wise, is quite physical, but I think we could do with a really physical forward at some point. I know we're not going on to transfers too much, but you're just making a brief comment about that while you were frozen.
I agree with both what you were saying, just because I do think that she is a fantastic striker, and I think compared to the level of service she gets, because she does not get no service off Lauren Hemp and Chloe Keller. They're both two very, very greedy wingers. And they like to cross in and shoot. That's the type of players that they like. They'll never cross a ball into the box. And I think for me the thing is with Bunny Shaw, like we've always said, Russo doesn't have service. Russo's this year she has never had the amount of service and she's had over the years, but she's still she's on half the less goals what Bunny Shaw is on. And you just look at that and you think, how? I do think though that if I was gonna pick a striker personally, I would pick Rachel Daly, just because I think she's absolutely outstanding, and I think she's one of them type of players who could slot absolutely anywhere. And I think that sometimes it's really, really needed in the team too.
Aye. So I've got a question for you both and for the chat as well. In the city, obviously in the City team, if you could pick two players each to join United, who would they be and why?
Oh,
We'll start with you, Maisy.
Well, considering I've just picked her up, I'm gonna. Well, no, actually, I'm not saying it. I'm gonna pick Beth England for the first one, just because I think she's an outstanding striker. And you do look at that and you think with
from City, though, wasn't
it? From City, Maisy.
Oh, from City. I thought you meant as in from anywhere. From City, I will pick first of all. Good question. I'll pick Hasiwana for the first choice, just because I think that she is more of a defensive midfielder, and you do need a Hayley Ladd backup. Because I said if we went and kept everybody, I know we're not going to, but if we kept everyone from this squad, we need a backup defensive midfielder for Hayley Ladd. We need another fullback anyway, and we need a backup goalkeeper. So that's why I will pick Hasiwana. And the second choice that I would pick would be Chloe Keller, just because I think for me she's got fantastic pace. I think for me, with the wingers that we've got, we haven't got a proper right-winged player. Not like Chloe Keller. I know we've got Paris and Garcia who can play on the right, but you've seen that they can play on the left as well. And sometimes with the feet, it can let them down a little bit. Not to say that they're bad players in any kind of way, but I want like someone who could perfectly go into that right-hand side. I know people are saying in the chat, Lauren Hemp. but I just think for me she runs into defenders too much. I'm not. I haven't been a massive fan of her since the Euros, if you want me to be honest, because I think her levels have actually dropped since. But what's your opinion, Andy? Who would you pick from City?
Which is like talking about City. I would have said Hem, to be honest. You forget how young she is. So much so I was just double checking. She's 22 and she's already at that level. And as we are, seem to be vastly turning into Brexit FC. She's English, so it actually could theoretically happen. Also, I would say the other one would be Bunny Shaw, which I appreciate is not English, because as I said, I think we have, ever since we lost Lauren James, we miss that physical forward. Obviously, with our budget, probably not going to happen both or either one of them. But I would probably, obviously, look at. I mean, there was a funny tweet that came out when we got Champions League, which said, "Thank God we no longer have to get forwards from West Ham. Now we've got Champions League." So I would probably move Martha Thomas on with my thanks and take Lauren Hemp. But I know obviously we're going on to Liverpool. I was just looking again because I'm starting to think more about the weekend and that super duper keeper that gave Chelsea a scare, that Kirby. She seems to be their number one now because she was in the 3-3 this weekend against Villa.
So, what about you, Chloe? Who are you picking?
I'd pick Bunny Shaw because, like Andy said, the physicality from Bunny, it works, and we've not had that since Lauren James. But she's also very competitive, and she goes back, wins the ball if she's lost it. She chases the ball down. She chases the ball, like when the keeper's got it, she'll chase it and get the keeper to obviously kick it away very quickly. And then my other one is the one you said, Maisy, Hasaraga. Because again, we need a backup defensive mid. Because I have a feeling that obviously in the minute Jade Moore's on loan at Reading, and I have a feeling that she'll be probably leaving at the end of the season. So it would help us to have a defensive mid to obviously replace Hayley Ladd for games when she's not needed, for Hayley Ladd to have a break and for obviously to have that switch. So yeah, they're my two.
Do you know, I'm surprised no one said Layla.
Yeah.
Yes, Barcelona player.
Layla Harbour. She's a good player as well.
There was actually a question going into Liverpool, which Ravi said. He said, Liverpool versus United will always be bigger than Manchester City versus United in any form. I agree with that in the men's game, but it actually isn't in the women's game, is it, Chloe?
Well, I think for me, I would say it is because Liverpool was our first game when we first came into the league, into the WSL into the championship. They were our first game because it was the Conti Cup first game, and obviously Lisiana, she scored that goal against them. And for me, I think because we've not played them for so long, because obviously when we were in the championship, won the championship, then we got up to obviously the Super League. I think did they get relegated?
They got relegated same season as we.
Yeah, we played them once at home, and then COVID ended the away.
So they got relegated, and then we've not had them back up since this season. So the rivalry hasn't been there. It hasn't been. We haven't been able to get that rivalry like the men's it has, where we have with City, because we've played them that many times. So I think if we keep Liverpool in, and for me, I would love Liverpool to stay in, because then we can build that rivalry up like we have done with City, and not make it like the men's, because it's never going to be like that, but make it so that we can say we've got Liverpool's United's rival, City's rival, both derby days. And I think for me, Yeah, it can be bigger than City United in any form, but like Maisy touched on, it's not yet. Not like City, because we haven't played them for a number of seasons due to them being in the Championship. So until they like makes themselves safe in the league, I don't think it will. And obviously we'll see on Saturday about the atmosphere and everything, and it's going to be a great atmosphere to obviously play again against Liverpool. And I wish that we were playing at Anfield, because Liverpool men are away, so it had that fantastic opportunity for them for the game to be held at Anfield, and it looks like they haven't taken it.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that, Andy? Because, like, looking at the women's game, like, you'd say City is a rival. We'd obviously say Chelsea, Arsenal, based on the league. And we've made our own, like, little rivalries with Durham.
Yeah. I say I don't watch the men's game because I don't watch the men's game, but I don't live in a bubble. I've been around my parents and other people, and I've seen, and I'm aware of, the rivalry between Man United men and Liverpool men. I think the reason why it has, Chloe covered most of it, the reason why it hasn't developed in the way it's done is because first season we Conti Cup, and we had a very weak squad because it was our first ever game, and they were in the top league, and then we didn't see them again until the COVID season. Then we got to play them at home. Now I think you can probably still find the article somewhere where everybody was clutching their pearls because we were booing and we were saying things about nicking car stereos. And it actually got a lot of things that were written about United fans, and it was all about, it was quite negative actually. And I know a lot of the supporters group got a lot of flack from it. So I think maybe possibly that sort of like started, the flame was there ready to burn, but then we just sort of got damped down a little bit by sort of WOSO police a little bit. And then obviously if we would have gone to Liverpool, then it would have we would have probably carried on with the rivalry. We've never actually been, since the first game, as Chloe mentioned, we've never actually been to Liverpool to play them. I agree that Anfield would make more sense. I don't know how many months ahead they have to plan these things, but I think only the last couple of games Liverpool became mathematically safe. So thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't want your rivals as a club to knock you down to the second tier. I think, are they a bigger rival? A rivalry's in your heart, because there's been times where, like, Real Madrid v Barca or whatever, there've been times where one team's much better than the other, United, Chelsea or whatever, but it's all in your heart. It doesn't matter if Liverpool aren't as strong, because it's still Liverpool. We still hate them. They still hate us. And there's a couple of other elements that we could play with a little bit. We basically nicked half of Liverpool's decent players to start our first squad anyway.
I actually got a tweet with that, actually. I'm going to actually bring it up.
Katie Zellum, bizarrely, well, I know she was at Juventus, having directly before, but previously she played at Liverpool quite close to when we started. And I think, it goes back to the old argument we've had again about, making sure, yes, we don't want the situation where people are taking cocaine in the stands and stuff like that. We don't want that at all. We're not going to get the men's situation, but we do want a bit of niggle. We want a little bit of atmosphere, and I think we're going to get it. On Saturday. I think it does have the chance to be a good rivalry. Liverpool are gonna, on paper, have got nothing to play for, but what they've got to play for is giving us a bloody nose and making 100% chance we won't win the league. So you can see why they'll be motivated.
Mm-hmm. I found that screenshot now of how could Liverpool line up if they hadn't sold anyone, which I think is the most pointless lineup in all time, because if Man United done the same, we would have a bloody world-class squad. Let's just be real. Although Liverpool's squad doesn't look world-class even with the ones they haven't sold. So we've got our former player, Siobhan Chamberlain. She retired at Man United. She won us the league. You've got Lucy Bronze, Alex Greenwood, who's been all about in the Northwest. We've got Ingle, Although I thought Ingle was more of the midfielder than a centre back.
She started as a centre back at Liverpool.
Okay, well,
I think she was a centre back at Liverpool.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. And I feel like I'm going to pronounce people's names wrong here. Panaccio?
Pacquiao, Maz Pacquiao.
Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Thank you. We've got Katie Zellum, Caroline Ware, Kirsty Hansen, who's currently on loan with Villa, but she's our player. Farrell Williams, Beth England, and
Oshwala.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will zoom it up, but it's not going to show the actual full squad. This is going to be the biggest I could do it. Look, because it goes smaller if I do it bigger. So that's actually the biggest I could do it. Yeah. I don't know about you, but it just seems like I think it's a very pointless tweet.
It's a pointless tweet, but it's very interesting actually because Oshwala is one of Barca's best. Well, Barca, actually, you know what? Oshwala is actually one of Barca's best players. I think she's quite underrated. I watch a lot of La Liga Femenino, and she's a hell of a player. The fact that Liverpool, she ever had to live in Liverpool, I suppose she suffered enough. Maybe that's why she's playing so well in Barca. Caroline Weir, stands head and shoulders above. When it comes to Real Madrid at the minute. Pacquiao, Engel's very, very good. Greenwood has been around longer than, Well, there is, it's a bit sexist, so I don't really want to reference it too much, but there is a thing about loyalty, and there's a picture of her with 5 different kits on or something like she has been around a lot. Chamberlain would have been retired by now. It's pointless.
So is Farrell Williams. She's retired.
Farrell Williams is retired, but it's interesting because I don't have the history of knowledge when it comes to where other players have played, because my interest in women's game came about when basically just before United formed. But I've noticed a lot of discourse today saying that Farrell Williams is anti-United and it doesn't really give us any kind of positive feedback at all.
You know what? I agree. I completely agree. Because
if she played for Liverpool, I know she was Reading as well, then maybe that explains a little bit of it.
To be honest, though, I watched the do you know the women's football show on a Sunday after the match of the day? So I watched that when I come home from the football. I'm like, she was just praising City. She was like, yeah, well, Man United's mentality has shifted, but Manchester City, that wasn't a red card for Roebuck. I was like, what you want? Seriously? But, yeah. Is there any thoughts that you have as well, Chloe?
I think if you look at that lineup, I didn't even realise Hansen played for Liverpool. So that shocked me. Beth England, she was on loan from Chelsea, I believe, when she played for Liverpool. So it's interesting to see why they would say that they would keep Bethany England when they didn't actually sell her. She was on loan from... I think she was on loan from Chelsea.
I've just had a look with Kirsty Hansen. She didn't even make a debut in the first team for Liverpool. Yeah. She was in their youth.
Exactly. So it looks like what Soccer Donna that have made this.
Yeah.
So it looks like what they've done is they've gone through all the old academy to what they like to obviously see what the players are and who played for who, and like Andy touched on, Oshwala, Caroline Weir, Ingle, obviously you have the likes of Lucy Bronze, and they're all fantastic players that played for Liverpool, that they won the trophy at Liverpool and stuff. But some people that are missing for me, you had Gilly Fallaty missing. She played for him. Tash Dower played for him, and obviously still now playing for him. She's come back to play for Liverpool. So it shows that they've kind of mixed it up with terms of players that have come from the academy, like Hansen, but never was in the first team. Because I think we got her from... Did we get her from Doncaster?
We did get her from Doncaster Rover Bells, yeah.
Yeah, so we did that, and then if we want the knowledge of the history, we had... So Greenwood's played for Everton, then Liverpool, then went to us, then went to Lyon, and then gone to City. And then I think the reason why Farah has a dislike for United is because she played for Everton, then played for Liverpool, then went and played for Arsenal, and then finished her career at Reading. So she's played for two of the big teams that are our rivals in terms of Liverpool and Arsenal. So she kind of probably does have that bias towards United. And I've seen bits that she said like United aren't good enough. They need to invest more. They need to invest in more players. Are they ready for Champions League? And are they ready to win the league? I've seen like bits of that and tweets about what Farah said, but hopefully we've proved her wrong this season, and she'll actually start. And hopefully she'll start realising that we are a serious team and we are in contention now for the league. And it's not just 3 teams that are in contention. It's not just your likes of Chelsea, Arsenal and City. It's now going on to us. And then hopefully Aston Villa will be up there and Tottenham and Liverpool. So hopefully it will start broadening the horizon instead of top 3.
But I mean, obviously, I'm aware of it as well. I'd be interested in your views on it, Maisy, as well as Chloe. Like, I kind of want, like, everyone knows when Carragher talks to Neville that Carragher's pro, Liverpool and Neville's United. I quite like the idea of having some ex-players that are pretty biased, and you can get a bit of sort of agginess towards it, a bit of aggression towards it.
Trust me, when you listen to Gary Neville, he isn't pro-United. He literally praised everyone who isn't United. Like,
all right, Roy Keane, you get the idea.
Yeah, I like Roy Keane. Yeah,
there's certain players that are known for being, pro because they played a lot for a certain club, And I don't see that as a problem, really. I know you were saying it wasn't. I just think the more we can get proper rivalries, the better. We've already got City. We've already got Liverpool. The weird one is Durham, because that's just naturally evolved. And it's not, the United rivalry, when you look into it, is basically 100 years old, about striking dockers. Like it's like ingrained in history. A lot of these rivalries are, City and United goes back to, I think, religion at one point. Like, it goes back a lot. So we've already got a new rivalry when it comes to Durham, and the more the merrier, really, isn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me though, we don't really have many Man United. Well, the only one I can think of is Siobhan Chamberlain.
Yeah,
she's the only one who I'd say is a Man United biased pundit. Do you know, like, I don't know about you, but when I listen to Ian Wright, he kind of sounds like he semi-likes United. Like, as much as, like, I don't think he should be in an Arsenal through and through. He sounds like he kind of likes Man United, so I'll listen to Ian Wright for Man United perspectives as well in the women's game. But apart from that, like, I don't think there's nobody else there who will praise United.
I think like you said, you've got Shiv, and then obviously if you
Rachel,
have like
just a little bit. She's quite positive about the fans as well, isn't she? A little bit, as well as United.
What's that?
Rachel Brown-Finnis is quite positive as well.
Yeah, she played for Everton though, so she weren't. I think if she was still playing, I think we would have taken Rachel Brown-Finnis. But yeah, she is one of the positives that do talk about us that hasn't played for United. But yeah, I think the only one that's retired from United is Siobhan Chamberlain. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and the only one who's played, isn't it? Because when we have pundits, like, it's kind of like current United players. Yeah. When it's a Man United game, like we've had Zellum before, we've had Maria's done it recently as well.
Yeah, and I think as well, like Andy touched on, the like having ex-pros and still pros commentating, whether it's been, I know we won't get it this weekend because obviously all the girls are playing, so we'll get like the ex ones, but when you see it on Sky, when it's been like Amy Turner's commented on United, she's done commentary or punditry on United, and then obviously Farah's done a lot, Alex Scott's done a lot, and it's just nice to see the other side of them. And when it's not when it's not their old teams and when they're doing like again, say like it was Farah was doing it for the Derby day, and it's not her not her teams that are playing. She is like, I think she's more one-sided towards City because they've been around much longer and she's seen more of them than she's. Well, I think she's played against them more than she has against United. So she's not seen us build up. She's not seen us strengthen the squad and stuff. So I think it's good to see the rivalry in obviously like Andy touched on the rivalry, like when we say about Carragher and Neville, they are like when Liverpool play against United, they are very against each other. But if you were to look at their teams of the season, not one of them, even Gary Neville, has picked a United player. There's not a single United player in that team of the squad, the team of the season squad. So
he picked 4 or 5 City players.
Exactly. So he's gone for, like, rightfully so, he's gone for the best players in the league. And that's what commentators do. And I think
the thing is, though, I disagreed with it because if you're looking at in itself, there should have been at least one Man United player, like Shaw or Rashford. So I completely disagree with it.
Yeah, I disagree with I disagree with it because I think for me, I was thinking more if Martinez didn't get injured, he would have been in Carragher's squad because of how impressed Carragher is of how much, because he criticised Martinez, didn't he? So he said he wouldn't, he's too small for the league or something like that, and he's proved himself to Carragher. So I think if he didn't get injured, he would have been in the team of the season, especially for Carragher. But for me, for United, like for the women's, Ian Wright, like Maisy said, is definitely behind the women's league. Arsenal, Lionesses. He said some bits about United, other teams, and I think he's one of the main male pundits that you see a lot for the women's game, and that's what you want. I think only for me, I've only seen Ian Wright on Sky or BBC in terms of male footballers. I haven't seen Gary, I haven't seen Jamie, so I can't. Other than that, it's another one. Why aren't the many male pundits being in the studio with the women's and having that kind of like Ian Wright does when he's with like Scott and Farah or Laura Woods? You don't see that a lot. You don't see it. You literally only see Ian Wright in the commentary box. He's the only male for the women's game. Whereas if you go to the men's game, you've got the likes of Laura Woods, Alex Scott, Karen Carney, all for the males game, all for the men's game. So it just shows how much men's commentators, men's pundits, and being asked to come and do the women's game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just also wanted to mention, I think the reason why maybe a lot of people are against us in the women's game is because a lot of the things that we knew as United fans, we knew what was needed before it happened. We knew we needed chance. We knew we needed a bit of atmosphere. We knew we needed away ends. We knew we needed rivalry. But a lot of the establishment, your supporters club from City, your Chelsea fans, famously Arsenal fans, who said that the only people who come and support Man United women are men. And, and other bizarre comments. But over the last 5 years, we've been proven correct. But like anybody who goes first, we've got the scars to prove it. So, we had to fight people to get away ends. We had to fight people to be allowed to say, the city is yours, 20,000 empty sheets. Are you sure? Even stuff like that. We had to fight for everything that we've got. And now, by making that space, oh, look, Chelsea do the whole, who are we, champions, Blue Army rubbish. They're all doing it, but we had to do it first. So I think we still have to sort of, maybe this has come over from the men's side, the old hated, adored, never ignored attitude from United fans, and as a club stays strong in the women's game. And that's maybe why, and I don't really want these people, I like what we have. wouldn't necessarily want everyone to be pro United, but I agree when you're saying about right. I mean, obviously we were both at the game. We're all of us at the game. On Sunday. But apparently, and it's weird how it was a new thing. I think the commentator and the co-commentator were both men, and we were both trying to work out who it was. One was a Prem commentator, I believe, but I wasn't sure who the pundit was or the color analyst was. But they were both men because I noticed it on Roebuck Red Cards. When they put it on the internet. But yeah, I think I think Liverpool is going to have so many different permutations. We need to win. We want to finish on a high. Maybe that's as far as it should go because it's quite rare to imagine if Chelsea are going to lose against Reading. The only example I can think of is Arsenal losing 1-0 against Birmingham last season. But that wasn't the final game of the season when they could smell the trophy. And obviously Birmingham were at bottom, but they weren't fighting for the lives on the other side of the fence as well. So I've got an example of it happening, but do I think it's going to happen? Probably not.
To be fair, though, didn't Reading beat Chelsea like last season or the season before?
Well, Reading have been a lot better previously. They've gave us issues. They were our bogey team for a long, long time. But even Kelly Chambers has said basically Reading should stop investing, and they've just dropped like a stone because that's how quickly you move in the WSL. Obviously, their men's team has been relegated to League One. That's going to affect their budgets as well. And and obviously if they get relegated to League Two, it's like if the women's team get relegated to the FA Championship, it's likely we won't see them for at least a couple of seasons, if ever, really, because that league is getting so competitive, now. And obviously it's going to be 2 up, 2 down from tier 2 to tier 3, but it's still only 1 up to WSL at the minute. That hopefully that will change. But yeah, looking at the game today, a game on Saturday. I think we just need to show our worth. Really put pressure on Liverpool. That keeper is good, and she's dangerous because she's young, Kirby, and also because she's got the jersey at the minute, and obviously she wasn't signed as their number one keeper, so she want to be saying to Matt Beard, right, okay, I want a proper contract, I'm now your number one or something like that, or want to cover herself in case people start becoming on the market. Say a Sophie Bagley suddenly becomes available, and will Liverpool take her, and stuff like that. So I think we need to focus on it and that. And I think also it is our last chance to say goodbye to certain players that we think might be leaving, and for us to have that interaction with them, and at least we'll have a chance to say goodbye. That would be quite good as well. And it's weird because we've been quite spoiled because of the Euros last year. So we've kind of gone from one tournament to another. And I know we've got the World Cup, but it's across the world and it starts in August. So but we've got a long time football wise coming up after this weekend. We're not going to see United play till late September. So we need to sort of save the moment, I think.
Absolutely. Hey there, Hassan Zaya Box. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Hey there, Tarsen. Thanks for coming in. Hope you are well. And hey there, Vincent. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming into the chat. So I've got my predicted lineup, which I'm gonna get up here. To be honest, with the predicted lineup, I actually don't see any changes from the derby. I think it's going to be remaining the exact same. I know we will probably touch on maybe Garcia deserves that chance, especially if it is certain people's last games. Then it's great to have a couple of connections on the pitch there playing together. What's your thoughts on this lineup, Andy? Do you think any different?
No, it's the same. It's exactly the same. I think will he put Garcia on instead of Paris? He pretty much admitted that he likes her off the bench now. I suppose. He's got to go for the league, so I think he would ask. We're not going to win the league probably, but I think he would ask a lot of questions. But it'd be interesting to see. Will he play Riviera instead of Honor if she is on her way out? But then we're not trying. But then we're not trying to protect an asset because she'd be on a free. So I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think there'll be any changes. I mean, Toon is gassed. I kind of wish she did have a bit of a rest. But yeah, the only changes as per usual, and we could have clipped this up and said the same thing in October, November, December, January, February, March, April, and earlier on this month, is between the wingers, isn't it? Is it Paris? Is it Garcia? That's the only.
Is it Turner or Mannion?
Yeah. Well, Mannion's injured.
He's injured again.
Yeah. I can't say much, but it's not looking brilliant for Mannion, so she's not going to be playing.
Was she got another ACL or something?
Not an ACL, no.
I think she'll probably be gone then in the summer.
Which is out for the World Cup.
I think she'll probably be gone then in the summer, realistically. We can't keep having an injury-prone player like Mannion. She's great. I like her mentality. But we can't keep her on the books.
What was even worse is I know Chloe's desperate to get in, but I'm just trying to wrestle the mic off her a little bit tonight as well. It's both knees as well, so it's not like she's just had one problem knee, because she's had 2 ACLs, one in each knee, and now another knee problem. So I think, yeah, just like Eva Navarro, I know just re-signed with Atletico Madrid. Originally, she was pretty much on the plane to Manchester, but got an ACL. I think sometimes if you have too many of them or get that sort of tick box next to your name, it doesn't happen, does it? You don't take the risk.
Chloe, what are you thinking of this lineup?
I think for me, like we all said, it's always going to be down to Paris and Garcia. And I think for me, Garcia earned it last game. She earns the start, but it's one of them. It's who does he pick? For me, I'd personally pick Garcia to play in that spot. I would, and obviously, I don't think there's going to be any other changes. So yeah, I'd probably think it would be this one, but I'd like to see Garcia starting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd like to see that Garcia would start, but I think the thing is, like, we've all got Rachel Williams a super sub, but Garcia's been the real super sub, hasn't she, this season as well? And I think that pace it is gonna really take an impact, especially just coming into the second half for sure.
Yeah, 100%, definitely,
100%. I think. But as I say, it'd be interesting to see. It's going to be an emotional game, the last game of the season. Especially if something weird happens and it's 0-0 at half time and you can't help but start, as in with Chelsea Reading, and we're ahead against Liverpool, and you can't help but start thinking, could it happen or not? Obviously, I remember, because I used to watch a lot of the men's game when I was younger, I remember seeing the old images of people with radios to their ears and waiting for whistles to go off, and because everyone's kicking off at the same time as well, 2:30. So, could it be one of those days? I don't know. I think BBC have played a blinder actually getting the game because it's going to be a better game than Chelsea Reading. But I understand why Sky's got it, because I think they're going to
lift the trophy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think as well, like Andy touched on, there's that many perspectives. There's that many perspectives and how you can win. It's like we're all going to be on tenterhooks, and I think obviously if Chelsea win, we win. Chelsea win the league. If we win, Chelsea draw, we have to win by 6 goals. And if obviously if we lose, Chelsea win or draw, they win it. So there's that many obstacles, and obviously with Reading, they have to win and hope that Leicester loses for them to stay up. So they are playing for something. They are fighting to stay up. So it does show that this game, especially for Reading, is big, and they will, like, Kelly Chambers is for me. Kelly Chambers is a fantastic manager. She's just not had that support. like we touched on before, like Andy touched on before, she's not had that support from the club, and it's what's needed now. And just because Reading men's have gone down, it's starting to show in the women's game. So I think it's just going to be an interesting weekend. I think every other person in the stands for the United game is going to have their phone on for the Chelsea game, or at least going to be checking it, especially at half time. And then obviously if we finish before Chelsea, we're all going to be checking, watching it, because obviously who knows, because obviously if Chelsea lose, we win, we go to the top, and obviously that's what we want. We want the 3 points, and we want Chelsea to lose, and especially if we score 6 goals as well, it's going to be incredible to obviously have that goal difference, because like we've always said, and we've said numerous times on here, the goal difference counts, and we've got 4 through goal difference. We've missed out by 1 point, by 1 goal to get into that Champions League spot, and now we've got into that Champions League spot. We win the league, we don't play until November because we get into the group stages, I think. But it also might be that we don't play until September. It just depends on the Champions path and how it works. So it's going to be interesting final day of the season, and obviously looking forward to it. And Liverpool have a very hard team as well. And I know we've not chatted much about the Liverpool team, so I don't know if we want to.
There's a few questions about the Liverpool team anyway, so we can get onto the questions. Hey there, Liam. Thanks for coming in. Hope you are well. And hey there, Oddly007. Where is my cute Ankit? Ankit's not on tonight. I'm sure he's probably streamed on his channel today. Let's have a see. I'll have a look at some. Okay. Question from Rabbit: how do United stop any Liverpool attacks? There is some good attacks there, good threats there, isn't there, Chloe, for Liverpool?
Yeah, there is, and especially if they start, there is some attacks. So you've got the likes of Katie Stingle, Van der Sanden, Tash Dower. You've got obviously Missy Bo-Keens that is a good player. So you have
Kerry
them.
Holland.
Kerry Holland again, fantastic player. So you've got them players that we now need to obviously. Well, we need to stop, and I think if Turner and Letitia work together, they can do. If the back four work together, like they have done in numerous games, we can stop them. And it's just they do a lot of long balls for me, Liverpool, and we need to stop them. We need to be the first ones to the ball, whether it's in air, whether it's to the ball. We need to be the first ones, not the second ones. And they're like the free kicks, the set pieces. Again, we struggle sometimes on set pieces. We do, and obviously it's going to be hard. It is going to be a hard game. Liverpool are going to make it hard for us because they know what we need. They know we need the 6. They will know we need the 6-7 goals. And obviously, if Chelsea go down, like if Reading score against Chelsea, United aren't going to know that. They're not going to know because they can't hear us from the stands. But they will know in their heads that they need 6 goals because probably Mark's drilled that into him saying, right, our goal difference is 5 to equal, and our goal, so we'll need 6 goals. So come on, girls, you can do it. We scored 6 against them last week. So that's what we need to do. And to stop, like you said, to stop the attacks against Liverpool, we just need to defend. We need to get to the ball first instead of second. We need to win aerial challenges. We need to not do silly passes, not go always back to the keeper. And I think we all saw it when it was the derby. Honor was in space and it was going the opposite way. And I get that. I get they do that because they do it in the men's side. But as soon as you see as soon as you see Honors free, long ball straight away. Get that cross into the goal, turn into Russo, and there's a goal. So that's what we need to do. We need to do more long balls after winning the balls back. From the Liverpool attacks, and as long as we do that, as long as we defend well and stop Katie Stingle getting the ball and others getting the ball, then we're going to do that. We are going to stop their attacks, but it's a hard one. It's going to be hard.
One who Ravi's mentioned in the chat is Megan Campbell as well.
Megan Campbell's long throws. So Megan Campbell does extortionate long throws. She can throw from one half into the box. And if you don't get that right, if you don't defend that right, it's going in. All it needs is a touch from somebody to go in, and it's a goal from a long throw-in. And Megan's throws are lethal. So there again, you need to defend them. If she is playing, because I think sometimes she hasn't been, but if she's playing, defending them long throw-ins will be hard, especially in the box, because if it touches off the head, if it touches off anything, it will go in and it will be a goal for Megan. And obviously, if that happens, then yeah.
Is there any other players you want to touch on as well, Andy?
I know Chloe's, I think, pitching for the pundit job for Sky Sports tonight at the weekend. Missy Bowe-Kearns is one that she has a much higher knowledge of women's football in relation to other teams than I do. I'm catching a little bit, but obviously been there a little bit. So Missy Bowe-Kearns always comes up, partly because her name makes me laugh. She sounds like she should be from Alabama. Sounds very Southern America. Only of the additional ones that maybe was in a threat for United, but is somebody that United, is aware of strength-wise, is Gemma Bonner. As a sort of their rock at the back a little bit. And obviously we've discussed Kirby as their sort of new goalkeeper with something to prove, wants to prove on the big stage that she's going to be number one going into next season. And I was just looking into Gemma. I'm sure Chloe already knows this, but who is apparently born and bred Leeds. So again, she might have a personal motivation to stick it in double hard against us.
Yeah, Gemma Bonner. Yeah, Gemma Bonner, ex-City player as well, so she knows what it's like to play in the derby.
We'll do some more questions as well. I think this was one where I know we wanted to touch on a little bit. And I'm actually surprised it was only Andrew who asked this, considering it was like floating around social media all day. So, Andrew's been paying attention to Twitter today.
I think this is sort of the devil and you're going to get this opportunity. I sort of know what Chloe's going to say, is what I'm getting at. And depending on what time of the day you caught me today, would have got a different response. I think Russo's most likely going to stay, but I think that's more likely because there is a line. To be honest, I think the elephant in the room is the ownership, is the Glazers. Being a women's fan, I was a bit late to the party when it comes to how incompetent and awful the Man United owners actually are. And I think basically the reason why they're going to give on Russo the money that she needs is she's Lioness, and they can see a return on investment in a cash format, not just on a player, on a sort of on the pitch format. They've obviously thought we can sell more shirts with Russo and Tooney and all that kind of jazz. I know that it's been mentioned today, so it's no longer a secret that because it was on Twitter, that place where obviously everything's true. But, I know for a fact that she was negotiating with United for a year and a half. And also that they've had to negotiate with 7 different people on United's side. So if she does stay, United are blooming lucky that she's actually stayed, because it's been done awfully and terribly, and is exactly as probably you guys would say United do their transfers in a really stupid way. In relation to Honor, I always said if you look back on the pods, I've always said if she goes to anyone bar Barcelona, then United's messed up. If it's Barcelona, she's born and bred Catalan. It's kind of is what it is. However, now it's actually happened, or is pretty much happening. It's 99% happening. It is painful because I think if we would have gone in there and valued her and said, look, here's a 3-year deal, you're only 24, just about to turn 24. If you stay with us for another 3 years, you're 27, you're going to be in Proteas sort of category, you're going to be prime. You can go do Barca then for 5-6 years till you retire, whatever. And we offered her some really good money because remember, we've mentioned it the last few times that Honor is one of the lowest paid. I repeat that for people at the back, lowest paid people in the squad because, and she's brilliant. And we're letting her walk out the door on a free. And I think it's, yes, maybe Barca has said, look, we'll have you now. And she's gone fine. And maybe there wasn't an opportunity. But if you listen to the way Honor speaks about United, about the fans, I do feel, we're never going to know, but it's just a gut feeling. I do feel that if we'd gone in there with a proper offer, with a proper term, and said, look, this is what we're going to offer you, we would have had a chance of keeping Honor. It's worrying that I seem to have been right that Riviera was Honor's replacement in United's head. Whether or not she is or not, time will tell. Obviously, it looked good when she did get some time. But it is very gutting for the fan base. And I am no fan of Skinner. I think he's one of the most irritating men I've ever known. But I can't put it on Skinner based on what I've been hearing. It's the Glazers, just not giving a damn about the women's team, debating about which half-crocked men's player is going to get another contract whereas that would be life-changing money in the women's game. I think Russo will stay, but probably United have a weird thing. United do everything wrong, basically. United have a weird thing as well where they announce all the outgoings first and then they announce the incomings. So it basically magnifies the pain. It makes it sound like nobody's left before they then start announcing incomings. And then if you include what happened last year, the first sign, all right, she's done well, but she was definitely a squad player. The first signing that we got in, if you remember, was Rachel Williams. And you had Skinner say, I think our fan base will be really excited about this. And we're like, nope. And obviously she proved us wrong. So that's the kind of roller coaster we're going to have. I think Russo's 90% chance going to stay. Honor's 99% chance gonna leave. And yeah, Chloe's a massive Barca fan. As I'm a big Barca fan as well. It'll be nice to still support her because I feel connection with Honor when we watch Barca, but obviously it's not the same as when she played for United.
Mm-hmm. And what's your thoughts, Chloe, of what's going on at the moment as well, and what you've heard?
So we've obviously all read on Twitter what's happening. Obviously, it's by a very well-known Spanish journalist that released it, Maria Takias, who's actually very, very close to Barcelona. She has said there's an agreement that has been made, and it's been done in the coming weeks. The only thing that's left to do is the signatures. So obviously, the signatures haven't been done. So for me, in Honor's case, if I was to agree a contract, I would have already have been signed. It would have already been signed for me. It would have already been done and dusted and signed. So I'm kind of holding out a little bit of hope that she's kind of said, right, okay, I've got this offer. I'll agree with it for now, but I'm going to go back, speak to United about it, see if they get Champions League, see what position we end in, and stuff like that. And because I've never heard, or I don't know if you have, Maisy, in the men's game, where a contract's been agreed but never signed.
With Honor?
No, in the men's game.
Yeah.
Like it's always been that it's a pre-contract's been signed and been agreed. I've never
seen
heard
it as well with the women's with Miedemar last year.
Yeah, exactly. You saw it with Miedemar the last year, like what Maisy just said. Barca agreed with Miedema that she was coming to Barcelona, and then last minute she signs a 1-year contract to Arsenal, and because she felt more at home. So it's like, again, Maria Takias announced that last season with Miedema saying that she's agreed the terms, but again, there's been no signatures. And then 2-3 weeks later, Arsenal announced that she signed a new 1-year deal for them.
And Honor's agent as well come out and said on a post on Soccer Donners, it's funny how journalists confirm things when they don't have any relationship with the athlete or the agency.
Yeah, exactly. And I think obviously, one, they can't tell anything. They might not be allowed to say that it's happened. They have to be discreet, because at the end of the day, she's still a United player until the end of June. She is still a United player. So they could still be works going on in terms of negotiations between her and United. Just because they've agreed terms at Barcelona, doesn't mean we've obviously not having the signatures, doesn't mean that they're still not in talks with the club, with Honor, and trying negotiating, especially now we've got Champions League, negotiating between Honor and United that, right, we offered you this, but we want to increase it a bit more because we know that Barcelona's offered you this. And if they can do that, if that's what the plan is, if that's what Honor's took back to the table, then fair play to Honor. If she's using it to get a better contract from United, then fair play to her. And obviously all of this is breaking out all of our United hearts, because we value Honor a lot. She's one of our best players, and we wish she does stay. We want her to stay. She knows that. She's passionate about the fans. She's passionate about United, and she retweeted the 5 years of United today, and she posted on her Instagram once when we won on Sunday, bring on Europe. So it's them little hints that are trying to keep your hopes alive that she's going to stay. But in the back of your mind, you're kind of like 85-90% sure that she's going to go back home, back to the club she was born and bred at supporting, the place where her family lives, the place where she's wanted to play for years. And if you don't know, basically what happened was that Barca actually wanted Honor when we got her, but they wouldn't pay the £500,000 that was required to pay for Honor, because she was in this federation agreement. So the Spanish, if you wanted to buy her in Spain, you had to pay this £500,000 to carry on playing in Spain. So that's why she came over here and played for us, as we got her in a free transfer. And she always said, I will be back to Barcelona. I want to play in Barca. So we know that's a dream. We know that's where she wants to play. But we're all hoping that it's not just yet, and she signs a 3 or 4 year deal with United, and just hope that this is one of them rumours that happens to be out in the journalists and out and about and stuff, and like nothing's been confirmed. Obviously nothing's been confirmed yet, but 85%, 90% sure that she is going to go to Barca. In terms of Russo, like Andy said, we've heard that she got a 6-year deal offered. Now we've heard that she's got a 4-year deal offered. She is one of the best England players that we have. So it is wanting that like kind of franchise player at United, because they know the kids are going to want to buy Russo, Toons shirts, Zellum shirts, Turner shirts. They know they're wanting to go and buy them. But to offer that kind of deal and it still not be accepted, then I don't know, because what's Toon on? How long contract does she get offered?
She's until 25-26.
Yeah, so she got offered offered again another big contract, because I think she renewed it last year, didn't she? And then she renewed it again not so long after. So I think it just shows that we are focusing on the England players, we are, but in the Champions League you need to have a set amount of homegrown players. So they need to have that for United, and that, like, obviously we're not gonna. It could come through the academy. We could say, right, we want Alicia Hearn on, Kira Berry on them, on the list for the Champions League or from the WSL League. But to have under 17 players, under 18, under 21s, who are all playing for England on our books, it is going to get us the money. It is going to get that rights. And yeah, with what's happening with the Glazers, with the ownership, it's kind of put a delay on it, a delay on the transfers, because obviously the Glazers give us the money, so Polly can only do what she can. John Montemor can only do what he can. Mark can do what he can, and if they can't get the money they want for their players, and the backing for their players, then what's the point? If they're not getting the investment, they can't hold the players back. And how long does it take before a player will go, right, I'm done, I can't keep negotiating, I've had better offers? And obviously we don't want that with our best players, but it feels like with Russo, with Honor, it's coming down to that. Russo's had offers from the French league, from the American league, or interest from the American and French league, so it shows how much value she's worth. And same with Honor, she's had it from other teams in the WSL, from Barca. So it just shows that we do need to keep these players, but if the team's not getting the backing from the owners and the money from the owners and the investment, then we're not gonna be able to keep them players. And that's the annoying thing with us fans, because we don't know who to blame for it. We don't know, because we don't know who's been dealing with all the signings and stuff like that. Obviously, we've already got Evie Rabjon over the line, and is it another one? I think it is Evie and
there's a Spanish.
Oh yeah, Lopez, but
yeah. So we've got
confirmed.
Yeah, so we've already got Eva Rabjon already signed, so she's already a done deal. Martian Lopez, she is potentially a deal that's nearly done. But the funny thing is she's a very close friend and best friend with Honor. So that could obviously persuade Honor to stay, because you will have a lot of Spanish friends in Manchester, with Layla, with Leah, with Lucia, with Lopez coming over. So if that transfer for Martina Lopez can persuade Honor to stay, then we've just got to hold hope that happens. So like Andy touched on, Russo's potentially already done. Honor's potentially already out, but for me, I'm just going to wait until it's kind of been June the 30th when we get the announcements. But I don't think we will get any announcements fully until after the Women's World Cup.
Yeah, I said the same. I wouldn't. I said it on social media today, just taking things with it, just so at the moment see how that goes. But any more thoughts from yourself, Andy?
I think the thing about Miedemar, you're right, she pulled out at the last minute, but she never had a girlhood dream to play for Barca. And I think even she will be the first to admit, because of doing that, she will never, ever play for Barcelona, ever. Like, she burnt the bridge there. And will Honor ever do that? No. I think if it's got to this point, I think she will end up at Barcelona. The question is, why not sign a pre-contract agreement? It makes you think that she's been messed around a bit by United. If it was just as simple, I'm going home, I'm going to play for Barca, surely she would have pre-contract signed in January, because you're right, she's still a United player, but because Barcelona's not in the WSL, they could whip out a folding chair at LSV and do the negotiation right in front of all United staff. Like, the foreign clubs can nick your players up until the first.
They can do that, but they can't announce it. They're not allowed to announce still. So she's still technically a United player until the contract's ended on June the 30th.
We've had pre-contract agreements announced previously, though, haven't we?
That's WSL to WSL.
Right, okay.
It can't. I don't think it can be. I think it's changed now. I've heard it's changed, but I could be wrong.
But I think the thing is with Honor, she is a world-class player. I think she is the best player that we have. I don't think there's one of about it personally. And I think it's going to be very painful from United because it feels like something that wasn't needed. Now, I appreciate that Eriksson and Harder have been. Actually, Harder's only been there for 3 years. I'm no fan of Emma Hayes. The two things people probably can say about me is that I'm not a fan of Skinner and I'm not a fan of Emma Hayes. But credit where credit's due. They did an interview with, with both of them, or at least with Eriksson, about her moving on, and announced it without announcing where she's going. Maybe it would have been nice if United did give us the courtesy of that, because Honor is a well-loved player. She just happens not to be English, which seems to be a problem when it comes to United's ownership. But I think, it's been quite an emotional day. And I think one of the things that, I mentioned, on my tweet earlier was saying that as a women's only fan, I've been naive previously, as I said on here, how utterly awful our ownership is. Without Glazers out now, we will always be a selling club, a nursery developing the top talent for serious clubs. But with Honor contract and lessees, United couldn't run a proverbial in a brewery. And I think, if you look at the ages of people that we're going for, we're being linked with a Dutch player today out of PSG. She's apparently a starter, once played Champions League, but she's 19. We are going for we are trying to turn ourselves into a nursery. And I know the old famous thing years ago, before both of you were born, was that Alan Hansen said you can never win anything with kids. And then obviously the class of 92 did that. But I think the reason why that story is told is it is quite rare. And I think any club that's got a retirement home or got a nursery doesn't do as well. You need a broad range. You need those experienced players to help the younger players on. You need the younger players to have the pace and the playing without fear. And I do wonder if the idea is, but we need new ownership, because currently they're doing the plan based on Glazers. And if the idea is that we go into a nursery, we probably can punch above our weight a bit more than you would expect. If we get the right young players, we could be just this youth team with no fear, and maybe get a Conti Cup, maybe get an FA Cup. We've done probably a lot better than they ever thought we would get to at this point in the league. But then if we get a Qatar owner or even a Radcliffe owner, it then starts pouring money into the women's team. It'll now take another 12 months before we even get any reaction, and maybe not even that, because it's the Olympics next summer. So we're still kind of everything's still a bit congested. I hope that we get the announcements before the World Cup. I think especially because the World Cup's later this year in August, I think if we have to wait till September, there'll be some real issues there.
Yeah. So, hey there, hope you're well, thanks for coming in. I've read the reports today about Mount, but I wouldn't pay 70 mil for him. Hey there, GTV, hope you're well, thanks for coming in. And hey there, Static, thanks for coming in, hope you are well. We'll finish off with our Lumbers question. Is the Spanish women player still boycotting?
Yes. They are, but after the leagues have finished, after all the cups have finished, the 15 players are having a meeting with the federation and with the manager, and obviously they're hoping to sort out an agreement for them to play, because obviously there's some big names that could potentially miss the World Cup. Obviously Alexa's now back, so whether she's in that 15 or whether she'll just go straight into the squad with Jenny and Irene, then we'll have to wait and see for obviously the World Cup announcement to come on. But yeah, obviously Honor and Lucia Garcia are in a part of that 15, so we'll be keeping an eye on it. to see in terms of what happens in that kind of aspect. But yes, at the minute they are still boycotting it. And as well, the league, the Spanish league, are actually teams are actually not boycotting it, but they're hiding the Spanish Federation badge at the minute on their shirts because they're having a protest against the federation, against the La Liga Federation. So yeah, something's happening big in Spain, both with the national team and with the league. So yeah, you're just gonna have to keep an eye out on Twitter, on social medias for what's gonna happen. And obviously I'll retweet it, Maisy will, and so on, with what happens in terms of the Spanish league and the Spanish national team, and with the boycotting, and with hopefully the 15 maybe returning, or the majority of them returning to play in the World Cup.
Fantastic. And with that, we will wrap it up. I know it's been a little bit longer than usual, but thank you both, Andy, for coming on, and Chloe. It's been a fantastic show. Great last preview of the season. Hopefully it will be a cracking game. Andy, would you like to shout out your socials and score prediction?
Yeah, score prediction, I suppose we need it to be 6-0 if we want to open up all our chances, but I think that'd be pushing it with this new keeper. 3-0. 3-0 to United, I think would be a possibility. I think Mary would be really trying to bust a gut to get a clean sheet because she's dropped a few recently going into the World Cup. And obviously at the minute, my current socials are at LGO_87.
Thank you for coming on. Chloe, would you like to shout out your socials and your score prediction as well?
Yeah, we'll do. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for a 6-0 United. Like, why not? May as well go for it. It's what we need to win the league. Obviously, if Reading win or draw against Chelsea, we need them 6 goals. So I'm just going to go for the 6-0 win. 6-0 win for United. My socials there, Chloe Riley 14 on Twitter. Thank you for having us on, Maisy. It's been a fantastic podcast as always, and I look forward to the next one.
Thank you both very much. I'm gonna go for 4-1. I do have a feeling, because we have done a couple of howlers in defence recently, so I am thinking that we may potentially concede. Hopefully we don't, but I've really enjoyed this show, so thank you both for coming on. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. I will be next live after the game tomorrow for the Chelsea, for the match reaction, so go and check that out. Take care, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.